I'm gonna go for it. I believe that I'm live, and I should be. If I'm not, you guys let me know. And what can you do about it? Welcome, my name is Phil, and we are here tonight talking about Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 3, which is called Temporal Edict. And I'm going to talk about how I felt about it and also maybe a little bit of general Trek talk towards the end because I am really excited for the show Strange New Worlds. You know, we're getting much more news about it. It's coming out day to day to day to day to day to day. Um, but yes, we will see when it will finally be on the air. So good on all us Trekkies who championed that show. We fought for it. We kept going on Twitter, on Facebook, on wherever it is that there was social media and said, we need this show on the air because now it's gonna be on the air and it's so cool, it's so cool, it's so cool. And we all loved Pike, man. We loved Pike and Spock was good. And number one, I can't wait to see more of number one. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. We're supposed to be talking Strange New Worlds, and I'm going off on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We're talking Lower Decks, sorry. And I'm going off on Strange New Worlds. But anyway, I'm Phil. I'm here every Thursday to talk about this show. Now, if you watched my very first video where I reviewed episode 1 and episode 2, you'll know that I had a few problems with the show, and it's mostly because I'm an old dude and the show was real fast. I was actually looking at a comment that somebody wrote about the show, and he said, "Man, I'm old and the show's too fast. And if they slowed it down like to half speed, maybe it would make more sense." And I feel your pain. Okay, I'm used to like that kind of methodical type of talking and setting up the scenes and all of that. And then he even said, "Oh, it must be difficult for the kids." I said, "It's definitely not difficult for the kids. That's what the kids like." So us old folks just have to realize, hey, it's a different era of Star Trek, and we just need to get hip to it. Get hip to the fact that nowadays things are faster, things pacing has to move at a mile a minute, and it can still be good. And it can still be good if it's done well. There's plenty of shows that I watch nowadays that have a quick pacing, and they're good. Okay, so that's not a for us old folks. Sometimes it takes an extra second or two to get the joke or get the pacing of a show, but give it a couple shots and you'll probably get it. Like I did. I thought episode 3 was great. So I'm not sure if it's me, like I've caught up to the speed of the show, or if the writers actually slowed it down. Because the first episodes, you always got to stuff in a lot of exposition and a lot of character development and who's this, who's that, where are they coming from, why are they there, really quickly. That's with almost every show. And it can feel fast until we settle down. And it's like, okay, we don't need to do 10 seconds or 20 seconds of dialogue to explain who this person is because we already know. So we can spend those 20 seconds to breathe a little bit and then get on with the story. So this episode here, I thought was actually pretty funny, man. I love the beginning, the cold open. These cold opens, I guess, can be hit or miss. But this is my favorite cold open so far because this show is full of callbacks. The other episodes were too, but this episode in particular had some of my favorite callbacks. And one is with the fiddle. You know, he's playing the fiddle, and always make fun. We always make fun of Star Trek for being so square, right? It's so square. Uh, and where everybody in Starfleet just listens to classical music and they have to go and watch Data give a a concert on his violin. And I love classical music, but man, give me some Ozzy Osbourne, give me some Erica Badu, you know, give me some Stevie Wonder, right? I like to mix it up. So it would be really boring if in 100 or 200 or 300 years, Parliament Funkadelic just wasn't played anymore. I'd be really sad out out in space. And I understand why they did that in the old shows because it was expensive for them to actually get the rights to modern music. So they just didn't do it. Now, I like that Discovery was able to have a little bit of David Bowie in there, right? In the second season. That was really cool. Space Oddity. And the Star Trek movies has a lot of Beastie Boys, which is really cool. And some purists, I guess they like to call themselves purists, are like, oh my God, how could they? And it's like, man, do you really want to live in a future where the Beastie Boys don't exist? Like, who are you? Like, take away your federation membership, please. So I like it when I see modern music and modern um, touches in anything Star Trek related. So it was cool that we had the fiddle and then Mariner, which by the way, last episode I kept calling her Marine, Marine, Marine until I realized I forgot to write the R in my notes. And I do have notes, believe it or not. Mariner came on and rocked it out with the heavy metal. And it's so cool because just last night I was watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure because I'm prepping for the new movie. And yeah, they had a, there was a lot of heavy, hardcore rock and roll in that movie. So it was kind of cool to see Mariner rocking out in I guess their version of 10 forward. I don't know, is there a name for that? If there's a name for that I don't know, write it in the comments. I haven't picked up what the name for it is. Episode, really thin little plot line, which wasn't much different than the first episode where the ship just got taken over by these weird zombies after somebody got spored. um this episode, I don't know, I think he got stung by an insect right from the away mission on the planet they were on. But on this episode, they show up to um, the planet. They're supposed to give like this crystal to these groups of people on this planet, and when they open up the box with the crystal, there's a piece of wood in there, and the people that worship wood are the arch enemies of these people that worship crystals. Okay, whatever. And then they start like this war and they get onto the ship. Uh, and it just chaos all around. It's kind of insane, but it's a very much old school Star Trek. A plot, B plot. And the B plot, kind of BA plot, is that they talked about buffer time, right? And that was a great callback to Scotty, right? Where Scotty's like, always tell him it takes, 2 hours or 3 hours longer than it really takes, and then you'll be the miracle worker. So that was really cool that buffer time was this thing in the Federation that they were talking about in the ship on the lower decks. And unfortunately, though, which doesn't really make a lot of logical sense, but Broimer, is that his name? Boimler, I'm getting these names, guys, is on the turbo lift and he slips out that he had enough time for his buffer time, right? Thing is, why would you say that? I guess for the sake of the joke of the show, but yeah, whatever. I mean, because for me, for a really good joke to land, it's can't be illogical. It can't be something that somebody just wouldn't do, or something. Yeah, something somebody wouldn't do. Like who would say that? Like they've been on this ship for a very long time. Nobody's ever brought up this buffer time, and yet now all of a sudden they do it, but it sets up the episode. Okay. And it sets up also the fact that Freeman is absolutely nuts. I liked her this episode because she was absolutely nuts. I hope we get more levels to her character because so far she's been a mixed bag. She's been this very strict uh, captain, but um, she seemed reasonable. This episode, she seemed really unreasonable. So I hope, even though again it's a cartoon, but let's respect the cartoons, right? I hope that they don't throw away logic or a character's development for the sake of a joke or for the sake of, oh, we need to set up this situation this week, because that'll be annoying. Uh, because yeah, she came off just real evil, but I liked it. I'm not, that's the thing. I actually liked her being like this crazy bitch, but she didn't come off like that in episode 1 and 2, like flustered. Like it kind of came out of nowhere that she felt as if, oh, our ship is not respected, and she was really insecure and all of this stuff. It was a bit of a left turn of her character that before seemed like she had everything under control. Seems strict. Had the issue with the fact that I guess it's her daughter on the ship, but for the most part knew how to run this ship. This episode made it seem like she had no clue what she was doing as far as delegating, right? Because we saw that she could run the ship. So what did she do? Is once she found out that there was this buffer time, she killed it, and she said everybody needs to do their job in exactly the amount of time that is given to do it. And it was really unreasonable, and the ship's falling apart. And I'm like, what? Wouldn't she have noticed? Again, maybe I'm thinking too deeply about it. By the way, this is me on the camera. I'm trying the camera. I'm not a big fan because, as you can see, I'm looking out elsewhere because I'm thinking about stuff. But here I am, talk directly to the camera. And hello, live long and prosper, all my Trekkies out there and Trekkers. I respect the Trekkers. I happen to call myself a Trekkie, but we all love each other, don't we? So that was kind of a negative as far as character development, where are these characters going? But if they keep her a crazy nutty bitch, I would prefer that because that was actually really funny. We also got to see a bit more of the first officer, Jack Ransom, and he plays the stereotype, first officer who's screwing everybody, kind of like the Riker first officer. Riker mixed with Kirk, and again, great callback to Captain Kirk. Because what happens? I'm slowly telling the story here. By the way, yes, there are mild spoilers, and this is me just being so prejudiced against cartoons. I don't know how many spoilers warnings you need for a cartoon, for like a 20-minute cartoon. It's not like earth-shattering stuff that's going on here, guys. But okay, whatever. Mild spoilers ahead, or maybe heavy spoilers, depending on how you rate spoilers. So, Mr. Ransom, he goes on this away mission where I already said, right, they opened up the box and there wasn't a crystal, started a war between the Cerritos and these crystal loving folks, and they get locked up, and then they decide that they have to have a trial by combat in order to end this war, and for the Starfleet officers to be allowed to go free. And what's his name, Ransom, decides to fight, and he fights the big ass beast using the two fists. And I was like, ah, I'm a huge TOS fan, guys. That's my favorite show. That's my TOS. I'm old school. So I was loving that. And then he even said it, double fisted punch. I don't think it was necessary, but it was still kind of funny that he said it. But I guess for those that just didn't know what that was that he was doing, this is a double fisted punch, and it will destroy all your enemies. So if you're ever being mugged on the street, or somebody's just trying to take advantage of you, bow, bow, give them the double fisted punch, okay? Or maybe, I guess it's like this that you hold a double fisted punch, right? You can't do it like that. You gotta do it like that and just bang them. Or is it like this? Boom, boom. I don't know. Tell me what your technique is for a great double fisted punch. Is it hands clap like that or fingers intertwined? You let me know in the comments, guys, what you think is the best one. By the way, we do have some people watching there, so hello. If you happen to be on as I'm on live, then leave a comment. Say hello. I am checking in every once in a while to see who's there. And let me see. Yeah, so anyway, that's like the main premise. I think that the thing that's best about the show are just the jokes. I'm a member of a Star Trek group called Star Trek Shitposting, and uh, one of the guys in there, I can't remember his name now, said that this show, Lower Deck, should be called Star Trek Shitposting the Animated Series, because that's what it is. It's such a funny show for fans of Star Trek. It really honors the history of Star Trek while just poking fun of how ridiculous some stuff is in Star Trek. I mean, we love it anyway, right? Because it's just Star Trek. It's our baby. So when Star Trek takes itself too seriously, it's like, no, I mean, yes, you have moments where Star Trek just needs to do what Star Trek does, which is dig down and deep and tear at your soul, make your mind go like, wow, I had never thought about it from that perspective. That's the beauty of Star Trek. But the other side of Star Trek is that it's campy as beep. Okay, it's campy and it's fun. And it's just a bunch of guys in pajamas out in space, like every once in a while they'll phase or something. So you gotta laugh at the same time, right? If you take your Star Trek too seriously, I don't think it's good for you. I hope that Star Trek Discovery learns that lesson. I think sometimes Star Trek Discovery takes itself too seriously. As much as I do enjoy this show, I think it's getting better season after season. Looking forward to season 3. Star Trek Picard, okay, it's supposed to be serious. It's old fogey Patrick Stewart. I can deal with the fact that that's supposed to be a serious show. I think Strange New Worlds is going to be the perfect show, though. It's going to be light and heavy when it needs to be. I think that cast is just unbelievable. I think that's going to be everybody's favorite Star Trek show. I hope. I wish it a lot of success. Now, what else was happening in this story that I think is worth mentioning? Okay, some critiques. Mariner, I like Mariner, the character. She's strong, she's funny, she's witty. But she gets to a point where, like, how is she in Starfleet? It's almost like Tilly in Star Trek Discovery, where it's like, how the hell is Tilly in Starfleet? I mean, yes, it's cute. Yes, it's nice that they're showing a character that's fumbling. They're not perfect. It reminds me of Barkley, which is a character I can't stand Barkley. He was better in Voyager. I actually didn't mind him that much at the end of Voyager, but he's just a character I don't like because it gets to that point of like, okay, the Federation maybe is accepting, humanity maybe is accepting, but Starfleet, you kind of gotta know how to get up exactly at 900 hours when you got to. And you got to know exactly what you're doing at all times. Now, of course, there's folks that are on the autism scale, and it's cool. I think Barkley kind of spoke to those type of folks who are technical wizards but have very bad social skills or can't get a date, like LaForge. I was talking today to a friend about black folks in media, and what was the first time that we saw any black people that reminded us of us. And for me, it was LaForge because as a kid, I was nerdy. I wasn't that techie, but I was definitely nerdy, and I definitely couldn't get laid. I mean, I tried, not even with a hologram, right? I couldn't get laid. So he was the first black character that I said, hey, I can relate to that guy, which is why I started watching Star Trek The Next Generation. I identified with the character of LaForge. But Mariner, yeah, she gets to that point. Like Tilly, like I was saying with Tilly, I mean, they need to just bring it down, tone it down a little bit for season three. I thought season two, they must have seen all the comments of the people saying, "Oh, it's so funny how she's a little bit unsure of herself, she's a little nervous," which is fine, but they went overboard, like to the point where it's like, "Yo, I just need you to do your job, and I need you to just be quiet, right, and just do your job." So, um, I it's a fine line, right? In Mariner, of course, it's a cartoon, so it's overboard, definitely. But that's where I don't know what the show wants to do yet. I'm talking about Lower Decks. Does it want to be just a complete imaginary version of Starfleet, in which case anything goes? Or does it want to be as if this was really Starfleet, but just a funny added? If it wants to be that, which I believe is what it wants to be, there needs to be a few limits on how far you take a character, how much a character can do before they get in trouble. Um, I mean, she did get thrown in the brig at the end of the episode, but hey, maybe I'm overanalyzing it. Maybe that's why I don't watch cartoons that much. But minor critique. And also another minor critique is that it's gonna get a little boring if every week it's just like how square Boimler is and how cool Mariner is. You know, there's got to be some point where we have an equality. Because for me, I see him as the lead. I don't know. I don't know. Who do you guys consider to be the lead of this show? Is it Mariner or Boimler? I think it's Boimler because, well, he introduced the show. Like, he was the first one that we saw. And didn't, no, this episode started with the first officer's log. But he, to me, comes off as the lead. So the lead can't always be squashed down like that every single episode. I would like to see a little bit of equality. I'd like to see a little bit of what she can learn from him. Because at this moment, she can't learn from anybody, really. I mean, there's no one that is able to break through to her and show her something that she doesn't know. Great cartoons, even the comedic ones, have these moments. And especially it being a Star Trek show, even if it's 5 seconds of, oh, which is what I think they missed last episode, where it ended up that she actually hired that Ferengi to act as if he was mugging them in order to make Boimler feel better about himself. I think it kind of took away a little bit of a little character development that he needed, which is to realize, hey, I can be square, but Starfleet needs square as much as Star Trek needs, or Starfleet needs adventurous types like Mariner. And okay, he still has that development, I guess, but us as the audience, we're like, you know, but is it really real? Because she set it up. It would have been nice if he actually knew more than her about a situation like that for once. So I hope that they work on that interplay because I can see that getting real old real fast. And yada 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 survived. Woohoo! Seinfeld survives into the far future. So awesome that that uh, that survives. This is the year 2380, and all you guys, when you guys are better at this than I am, but when does Star Trek: The Next Generation take place? When in the future does it take place? Because I thought this show was going to be way after, but apparently it isn't. Okay, because they mentioned the Enterprise, so this is 2380. I guess. The Enterprise was around from 2364 to 2370. Okay. I thought this was a little bit after, especially because of the uniforms and everything. So, alright. I can never get my Star Trek star dates correctly. And, well, it's been raining for the last week down here in Sao Paulo. You can probably hear the rain. And that's it. I got nothing more to say about this. I'm not going to stretch this out longer than it needs to be stretched out. Star Trek Lower Decks so far, enjoying it. It's a quick 20 minutes of my life that I can chuckle and appreciate Star Trek. Oh, of course, how could I forget the best callback of it all? It's in my thumbnail. Miles O'Brien. And those of you that don't know, there's a great site which is like uh, a day in the life of Miles O'Brien. What is it? I'm gonna get it for you. Miles O'Brien. It's the well, what is the name of this? Oh, now I can't find it, and I just shared it last week with a bunch of people. But it's this little cartoon which is just about the daily life of Miles O'Brien, and it's so sad and it's so depressing, right? Because he does nothing. It's like, okay, today I'm just sitting in front of the transporter, want to beam up. Okay, Chief O'Brien at work. That's it. Check that out, guys. Go to a site called chiefobrien@work.com, and it's just this comic about Chief O'Brien and how absolutely boring his life is. But it's really funny too. You know, makes you feel better about your life at the end of the day. Chief O'Brien at work. But yes, because Boimler is like, well, at the end of the day, he is able to get Freeman, the captain, to realize that being that strict is actually not allowing people to get their work done. So they need that buffer time. They need to be able to be a little bit flexible. So she renames this edict, okay, to be flexible after him. And this is like a shot to his heart because he's all about following the rules to a T. And one of his friends, I think it was, oh my God, what's his name? The cyborg boy. Uh, I'll get these names. Rutherford. He said, "Oh man, they'll probably nobody remembers any of these rules. There's new rules that come out all the time. So we go into the far future where they're teaching the Boimler rule, right? Named after the laziest uh, uh, Starfleet cadet or whatever you call it, officer ever." So that was kind of funny. But then she says, but now let's talk about the real hero here, like possibly the most important character in all of Star Trek, right? In all of Starfleet. And it's Chief O'Brien, and there's a big statue of him, and it's so funny. Oh, man. 30 minutes is enough for Star Trek Lower Decks. I've been working all day. I've been working since 1 o'clock, so excuse me if my brain is mush. So, in other Star Trek news, Strange New Worlds has got me excited, okay? One, it's going to be a throwback to the franchise's traditional Planet of the Week. Okay, I'm reading from inverse.com. This is the first time ever that Strange New Worlds is poised to fulfill the promise of the original series and actually depict new alien life forms that actually look like aliens. Ah, well, all right, but they kind of look like aliens, and I kind of hope that they go old school because Neil deGrasse Tyson, he kind of has a criticism of this whenever he watches sci-fi movies, how all the aliens are kind of humanoid for those same budgetary reasons because they couldn't afford to put everybody in all this makeup and all this. Like, look at the Klingons. Uh, they would sometimes just have a blob. Oh, one of my favorite episodes, right? With that blob that goes into in the mining colony. The pain, the pain. Oh, I love it. Or those little, looks like omelets in the sky, on the ceilings. Those are great aliens. And sometimes the alien would just be like an orb, or that's, for me, was cooler and more imaginative than just having the irregular old humanoid looking aliens. So perhaps Strange New Worlds will give us real alien looking aliens. So, according to Kurtzman, Strange New Worlds is going to be a return in a way to TOS. We're going to do standalone episodes. There will be emotional serialization. There will be two-parters. There will be larger plot arcs, which I think is cool to have that, kind of like the X Files used to do, right? They had their monster of the week, but then they had the larger arcs, the mythology that went behind it, or buffering it. But it's this old model: alien of the week, planet of the week, challenge of the on the ship of the week, with these characters pre Kirk's Enterprise. Um, oh, and look at that. I guess they're talking about exactly what I was saying. For readers of serious science fiction, one of the biggest and oldest criticisms of Star Trek's portrayal of alien life is that everyone tends to have two arms, two legs, and one head. Within Trek's canon, there's an explanation for this. Of course, we know that these bipedal aliens that seeded, everybody. But that said, the chase was mostly just a complicated hand wave to explain this. But there's not a lot of non-humanoid aliens that appear on Star Trek. In the animated series, we had a few. And, well, I'm not going to read all of this because it's basically what I said, because a lot of it is just they didn't have the money to do all these real, arrival style aliens every week. But now we do. Okay, now it's not that expensive to get somebody on a computer and CGI the shit out of a crazy monster. So I can't wait. Um, I want to see some aliens with their tentacles. And speaking of tentacles, on Sunday nights I'm here live talking about the great new show. At least the first episode was really great, called Lovecraft Country. So if you haven't seen Lovecraft Country, watch it. If you have watched it, check out my video. It should be under the playlist Lovecraft Country, and I'll be on every Sunday night talking about that show. It was awesome, and hopefully soon I'll be able to have videos up for Strange New Worlds, and before that, season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. But tell me how pumped you are for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Tell me how pumped you are for new Star Trek. Tell me how pumped you are for Star Trek Discovery Season 3. I can't wait. I really enjoyed Discovery. And realize, folks, speaking of Strange New Worlds, it's a brand new world. It's a brand new world of Star Trek where we have a little bit for every taste. And even for those that can't stand any of this stuff, guess what? You have like 20 some seasons of old school Star Trek that you can watch. Isn't that exciting? So, if you don't like any of this new stuff, go watch 7 seasons of TNG, 7 seasons of Voyager, 7 seasons of DS9, 3 of TOS, and 4 of Enterprise. Oh my goodness, you have so much stuff that you can watch. Plus, 6 movies with the original cast, 4 with the TNG cast. You have a lot of stuff that you can watch if you don't like this new stuff. But if you are of the mind to accept that, hey, things need to evolve with time and they can still have the essence of Star Trek, you're in for a ride, because all this new stuff is so cool. I really, really, really love it. And as with anything, sometimes it takes some time to get used to it. Maybe it's not perfect, first episode out, but name me a TOS. I mean, the first season of TOS is just classic. But name me a Star Trek series that was perfect coming out of the gate. Okay? I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, even the first movie. Imagine Star Trek the motion picture, if that was it, because it sucks so bad, and I can still enjoy it nowadays, but imagine, we'd have no more Star Trek. We needed Wrath of Khan to get the ball rolling. So that's the way it is, folks. Give these shows some time to breathe. Give these shows some time, be gentle. Like I'm being with this. I'm not into cartoons, and it's not my thing. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be my number one Star Trek show of all time, probably. But I'm enjoying it. I might even check out the animated series during my free time. See if I get into those, right? So, okay, folks, I've talked for quite a bit. I will see you next Thursday. Or, like I said, Sunday night, I'll be here on this channel. So, like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell. Monday night, I'm here with my friend Pete talking about what we've watched in the past week. Okay? And very, very soon, there will be an aliens ranking. We're watching the aliens movies, me and him, and we're going to talk about what we think is our favorite movie out of the Alien franchise. That includes everything, even Alien versus Predator and all that stuff. So check that out. That's going to be in the playlist called Ranking Movies, where you can find the Star Wars podcast there. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay. And that's it. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. Love y'all. Until next time. Oh, Renee Adolfi. What's up, baby? I didn't see that you were there. I'm about to close the stream. But okay. Yeah, it's raining here in Sao Paulo. Love you. This is my geek out stream, Renee. This is my geek out Star Trek. This is what I do in my private time. Geek out to Star Trek. All right. Tell me how the stream was afterwards, if it's flowing okay, because I'm trying this on OBS, okay? Until next time. Bye bye.